All right, they said Trump's trade threats would destroy the global economy. Hell, it looked like it was going to. They said Europe would never bend. They said this would be the end of transatlantic unity. Man, they said a lot. And yet, a deal was struck, tariffs avoided, and the global order might not be dead, but it's definitely close. Welcome back to America's Geopolitics. If you're tired of the globalist bullshit and ready for straight talk, subscribe now. On Sunday the 27th, Trump met with Ursula von der Leyen in Scotland. It wasn't supposed to work. Europe was preparing retaliation. The US had a 30% tariff gun pointed straight at EU exports. But in the end, they walked away with a deal. Flat 15% tariff on most European exports to the US. Of course, there are some exemptions. You got for strategic goods like aircraft parts and key agriculture. And in return, $750 billion in energy purchases from the US over 3 years, plus $600 billion in EU investment commitments. That's not nothing. That's a pretty massive shift. And it happened quietly, without a war of press releases, without a WTO ruling, without the usual drama. Just power politics. It's a reminder that this isn't 2015 anymore. The tools of diplomacy have changed. Trade is now a damn battlefield, and every country is recalculating what peace looks like. I'm gonna say that trade is now a battlefield. That is the reality. And this isn't about tariffs, it's about alignment. Europe blinked, but not because they're weak, because they had to make a choice. Keep clinging to a broken multilateral system that America doesn't even support anymore, or cut a bilateral deal with the world's dominant economy and move forward. They chose the second. It's not a loss, that's an adaptation. And it tells you something important. The world is reordering itself around leverage, not legacy. That old world order is gone. This isn't just a shift in policy, it's a shift in mindset. The idea that everyone gets a seat at the table just because they signed a treaty, those days are over. Now it's about who brings what to the table. Energy, capital, infrastructure, security. And the US? It's setting the price of the admission to the US anyway. For 30 years, we told ourselves that the global trade system was sacred, that no single country could write the rules, that the WTO would keep things fair. That idea just died a little more this week. Bilateral deals are now the model. The US isn't asking for consensus, it's setting terms. And countries are choosing access over ideology. Or they're not, it's really their choice. What we're watching is the collapse of a model based on trust, and the rise of a model based on leverage. There's no going back to the old system. The future will be way more transactional. Now let's be fair, this won't be painless. Germany's automakers, they're nervous. France's farmers, you know they're nervous. Supply chains are getting rerouted, and prices are gonna rise in the short term. Some analysts say this kind of pressure forces inefficiencies, and by moving away from comparative advantage, both sides might lose more than they gain, which is true. But here's the thing, Europe still came to the table because the alternative was worse. A 30% tariff in this economy, that's not pressure, that's extinction. That's at least a move out of the American market. And the critics aren't wrong to be concerned, but they are wrong to assume the old system still works. I think that's where the problem is. The real question isn't whether this deal is perfect, it's whether it's survivable. And so far it is. This deal is a blueprint. The UK followed suit with its own 10% baseline deals with Japan, Vietnam, and the Philippines are underway. And India? Well, India is holding out, but they're watching it closely, and I'm not sure what India is gonna do. Brazil is quietly asking for reassurances. South Korea's industrial base is already lobbying for similar terms. This is a cascade effect. And once the dominoes start to fall, no one wants to be last. This isn't just economic policy, it's strategic realignment, and America's no longer pretending that trade is about fairness. It's about leverage, supply chains, and security. And countries are now forced to answer one question. Do you want access to the American consumer? Then make a deal or risk the tariff wall. And that really is the question here. If you don't make a deal and you do come in last, we just might not need you. So here's what matters now. Will Europe honor the $600 billion in US investment promises? If not, Trump's gonna let us know. The enforcement mechanisms might not be public, but they're real. Oh, he'll make them public. Will this pull the EU closer to American energy and further from Russian gas? Well, it should. A major shift has definitely been under the way. LNG terminals are being expanded every day. Long-term contracts are being signed, and the energy map of Europe is definitely being redrawn. And will more countries cave or copy the model? This might not just be the end of globalism, it might be the beginning of trading blocks. Economic spears aligned around power poles. This wasn't just a win for Trump or a concession from Europe. This was a test of what comes after globalism. No one wanted to go first, but now they have. Now we know what the model looks like. It's not just about what the US is doing, it's about how the world is responding, and whether the New Deals being struck now can hold together in a world that's getting more and more fragmented. The old world order told us everyone would benefit if we just played by the rules. But today, it's about who can survive the transition. If you're watching this unfold in real time, then hit that subscribe button. This is Frank. See you next time.